It's not just, hey, here's this sandbox environment I'm going to show you. Here he says, I'm going to use my product on a call that we actually had together. And I'm going to show you how we coached against it. All right, it's that time again. We got another demo lined up. Today it is our boy Mark Ackers from Refract. And as you'll see, we'll dive through it. He's a pro. This guy's an absolute pro, but you can see for yourself, he seems to come off almost a little too polished, and certainly his cadence is just way too fast. But let's check it out and dive into it.
Let's do it. All right, we have James again.
Welcome back, James.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm really pleased we found this time in all our calendars. Thank you for organising that, James. Massively appreciate that. We've got this in until 2 o'clock. Just want to check, has anyone got any hard stop before that I need to be aware of?
No, we're good.
Okay, great. So, Mark, do you want to maybe take the initial reins and explain sort of why we're here today and sort of a bit of a summary of our previous conversation, and I can take the lead from there.
All right, quick note here, just because I love this question. Why are we here? Why are we all spending time together at this demo? And he's getting the prospect to actually reiterate all of the pains and challenges, and also it's the person of power, right? The authoritative figure in the room is actually going to deliver the reason why they're all here. So I think this is super powerful. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, on the prospect side, we got the CEO, it looks like head of sales and head of customer success. Dream team. He did the qualification call with the CEO, and now he's asking the CEO to do just a real quick level set the tone as to why we're here. It's succinct, to the point. I like it. I love it.
Good start, man.
Good start.
Okay. Whilst obviously really, really helpful, what I've also done, Mark, is I've just put together a bit of a situation slide, sort of really a reflection of what I heard from our previous conversation. Can everyone sort of see that on their screen?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So don't worry. I'm not going to read through all of this because Mark, the summary you just gave really covers that. As you say, it's something that you speak about a lot. But it is just really a summary of our conversation, Mark. And we spoke a little bit about the current sales and customer success team, the current approach to training and coaching. It would be good as we go through the demo just to understand what that ongoing coaching piece looks like from yourself, James and Kelvin, and how Refract could compare and amplify that. Really, when we spoke about what needs to change, Mark, what I took from that was it's a young sales and customer success team that you're looking to grow. You mentioned to me that given that the proposition and product has developed, you're keen to ensure that they're driving the right message and really selling in a consultative way. You alluded to the fact that there are top performers there and there are low performers. And when I asked sort of, what are those high performers doing differently in their sales conversations, it was greeted with we don't know, and that's why we're interested in technology like Refract. Mark, is that a fair reflection? Is there anything else that I've missed there?
I'll put it out, please, Kev.
Quickly pause again. All right, I gotta call this out. Anytime I see a PowerPoint slide with this many words, my brain shuts off. I don't know if it's just me. I like to see very simple visuals, maybe a few words tops. I think you can explain these reasons just verbally. I don't think we need this slide.
Yeah, I kind of liked it. I like that it demonstrates to the prospect that there was a really good capture of understanding in terms of pain point and what was discussed. But you know what? More importantly, I really like the level set. I like that it's a quick, succinct catch-up because you've got two folks that are on the call on the prospect side that weren't there on the very first one. And so it's important for everyone to get on the same page. And then I love how he checks for mutual understanding and says, is this what we talked about and was there anything else? And usually there are one or two things that are brought up afterwards, and that actually happened in this case. So yeah, I suppose I could take or leave the actual note shared on the screen, but it's unique, it's different, and I think you're listening to what he's saying anyway. So, you know what, I give him marks for doing that, and more than anything, I just liked how he positioned it.
Yeah, I do like the level set. Agree to disagree on the visual. I think this is cool. Maybe send it to them in an email. Be like, hey, here are the main things we discussed, but I'll send you guys all my notes and make sure we're on the same page, something like that.
Yeah.
When I see visuals, it needs to be simpler.
Yeah. Speaking of visuals, I love the surf shirt there. It's good. I mean, we're in Vancouver in the fall, but I love it.
It's always sunny in my mind.
I know. Actually, quick point on that. Yeah. Not on the shirt, but on the one thing I'm starting to see from Mark here is his cadence is very, very fast and abrupt. I wonder if that's going to slow down. Often I see nerves at the beginning and it slows down. I hope it does. But how did that one strike you?
Yeah, it's he's sounding like a salesman. Sounding like he's said this a lot.
Yeah.
And he's burned through a lot of these objections before.
Right.
And he's answering them like a pro and he's setting the stage, but it's just too fast. It's making me feel a little longer. I
agree, because what he's saying, I think, is actually, he's handling it very well. How he's saying it, a little bit rushed.
Yeah. Let's see if he slows it.
Yeah, we'll send him a surfing shirt. I like Scott Parker. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. The challenges that one I can resonate with, but two challenges I hear all the time. So you're not alone in that. One of the things that we're going to be able to help you do is to really focus on where you spend your time, what calls you pick and listen to. We're going to automatically surface what good looks like, but also the coachable moments. You know, I think Calvin, you said it yourself that there are great moments happening all the time, and you know, in my experience, the very best phone calls have coachable moments, and the very worst calls have moments of brilliance as well. And it's about being able to find the pizza slices from those conversations and ultimately build an example of what good looks like, find that winning formula and put it on repeat. And
pizza slices?
I'm hungry now.
Me too. Starving.
No idea what he's talking
about. Yeah.
We're going to dive straight into Refract. This I always try and avoid the word demo because it implies it's not real. This very much is a live environment. This is our platform. As you can imagine, we use it internally. Mark, this is our conversation. This is the call we had a couple of weeks ago. And I thought there's no better thing to do than to share what a real call looks like. This is also a call that was carefully selected for coaching.
All right, quick point here. This is just something that I see actually more and more demos doing now. And it's a trend I really like. And that's bringing your demo environment into the real life of the prospect. It's not just, hey, here's this sandbox environment I'm gonna show you. Here he says, I'm gonna use my product on a call that we actually had together, and I'm gonna show you how we coached against it. That's pretty cool. That's like tearing down that third wall.
Very powerful. Couldn't agree more. Well done, Mark. Well done. Very cool.
What I mean by that is, let's imagine we want to review this conversation. You've got a sales rep called Mark in the team. First of all, we've picked this call, and I'm going to show you how you can pick the right calls in a second. But first of all, the key insight. You can see the individual's talk versus listening percentage on this individual call. So I appreciate there's a few marks here, but Mark, when I spoke with you, I spoke for 53.3% of the time. Gentlemen, keen to just get your initial feedback here on these insights. You know, what you think you would learn if you could turn these on from a conversation by conversation basis.
I think it's very difficult without some context. So I think if we'd only really understand what they meant after having it on for a week or two and seeing what the trends in it are, rather than trying to base it on individual calls or in one call in this particular instance. Do you offer benchmarking against sort of industry areas or across customers of a similar size?
So that's a really good question. What we actually do is we enable you to benchmark against your own individuals and teams. I take on board what you're saying there. I mean, the beauty here is you do get insight from the very first call that's recorded and saved.
So sorry, Mark, just a question on that search criteria then. Did you say, so there's a list of related words to, let's say, next step? So you like have an ontology of words or something, so you don't have to actually type. So is that automatically making those connections, or would you physically have to type all of the different ways in which someone might phrase next step?
Yeah, it's a very valid question. So one of the things that we do here is we help optimize your account and set this up. So you'll have a customer success manager, support team, and you're right, we'll link words together and we'll review that for you. What we tend to find is over the first 4 to 8 weeks, we constantly optimizing that account to give you the best results. Okay, so back to our call that Mark and I had last week. As I say, it was selected for coaching, so I get 2 of my calls coached every week, and this was one that was picked. If we were to coach this call, as I say, my manager had quick visibility here into this call, but as I say, this isn't meant to replace listening to calls, so you can play the call back from the start. A few options here, but you can jump across the timeline.
All right, so I love what Mark is doing here. So this is what I don't see organizations doing it at, right? You have all the best practices of how to use your own tool. And hopefully you dog food it internally or drink your own champagne, so to speak. So you guys are experts, so share that knowledge with the prospect, with the customer. And he's given some great examples of, hey, here's exactly how we use our own product. I think that's awesome. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a really good way to go. There's a couple things that I just want to quickly mention though. One is when he's using his prospect's actual phone call and the prospecting call as a demo in front of the prospect's direct reports, I'm thinking that could be a touchy area. Now, hopefully he got his prospect's approval from that first, right? But one thing we're always talking about is how important it is to really make your prospect feel comfortable. I just hope this doesn't push the prospect out of the comfort zone a little bit. It could backfire. Something tells me he's very hyper aware of that and wouldn't play a talk track that might jeopardize anything, right? So we're probably good there. And one thing I keep hearing, I don't know if you've noticed this, when Mark is asking them if they have any questions, they'll ask a question and Mark will respond by saying, oh, good question. This is something I'm talking to a lot of our replace customers about right now. That is an overused term. In fact, I've heard it a few times in this demo already. And I know it's well-meaning. Often, though, it's used as a bridging or sort of stalling word while you're thinking about your answer. And it can come across as disingenuous because of that exact reason. And so I would try and, I'm coaching the replace customers to just leave that pretty much right out of the jargon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's almost when you give someone the same compliment over and over and over again. It's
right.
Like, Dave, I love your shirt. I told you that every single time, which I do love your shirt.
Thanks, man.
It would lose its sentiment.
Yeah.
Just be like, this guy just is saying this for the sake of it.
Totally. I can always spare a button from here if you need it though. Okay? All right.
In terms of what I wanted to show you from a conversation intelligence point of view, I think I've shown you enough today. I'm really keen to see how this matches up with your expectations and I suppose a little bit of what you do today, but really where you'd like to take this, if you can see this being the right tool to fuel that.
I've got one more question operationally, if that's okay. I noticed there was an export function when you were looking at some of the calls there out to CSV. How granular is that?
Yeah, so just so I understand, are we talking about the call files or anything else?
Well, the call files would be interesting, and that fits into some of the reporting I do at the moment. That might make life more easy. But I am an Excel fanatic. If I can get data sets I want to work with in Excel, then I'm very happy.
Okay, so I think the headline here is it could all be exported. I think you'd just be working out what you wanted to see.
All right, quickly here, love what he did there. He's clarifying the objection or the question. So instead of just launching into his canned response, which so many AEs do, he's saying, am I hearing that question right? It's super important to get the full scope and the full picture before you're giving a response. So I love that. And I love that we're already, at the pricing and next steps phase, which is great. And we have still 25% of the conversation left.
Yeah, this has to be like a demolitions first, where we've seen someone actually do the best practice we're talking about, where you leave just a hefty amount of time at the end to really perform the role of, I think we've talked about this before, but I think it's worth mentioning again. When you finish a demo and you're thinking, I wonder what the customer's talking right now about in terms of their post-demo huddle, treat it at the end of your call with them as you're navigating through the last 10 to 15 minutes, as though you're facilitating the post-demo huddle. And that's, and so I'm really curious to see if that's how Mark ends up navigating this, but he's certainly given himself a lot of time to do it, so that's great.
And with this amount of time, we can uncover a lot. So I'm excited to see what we can uncover.
Me too, let's do it.
I appreciate we haven't had any conversations on commercials at all, but if you're tracking calls through mobiles and you guys are the carrier, I take it there's a cost behind each of those calls for tariffs, or how does that affect the commercials if we're using this method to record and track?
It doesn't actually. So there are very few numbers that we don't support. One that springs to the top of my mind is a Dutch mobile phone number because it's very expensive. But on the whole, we just swallow those costs up if you use our dialer as well.
Okay, cool.
Right. The data is stored in the UK, is that right?
Yeah, so we've got a number of servers, but yeah, your data will be stored in the United Kingdom. There is another part of the platform that I could show you, but I think right now that the value wouldn't be there. Just so you can just see what I'm referring to, it's the ability for an individual to record role play responses to challenges. So you can send out recorded challenges and people can record responses, very much a role play feature. I'm happy to go into that in more detail. It'd be best at a different time, just given the time that we have left today. But just want to make you aware that there is a little something else that we could share.
Oh wait, there's more.
So this moment, like you're wrapping up, you're kind of having the conversation come to a close. You don't need to be like, ooh, look, there's another shiny thing, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on throwing another feature at the 10-yard line?
Yeah, my thoughts are, if that feature is worth mentioning, then let's put a spotlight on it and make sure that we actually talk about it.
Right.
And so
in the actual demo.
In the actual demo. Now, thankfully, Mark's left like 15 minutes to still talk about it. But I feel like, if I'm in the prospect shoes, and we always want to understand how would we feel, it's like, why are we glossing over this? Why is the assumption that we're actually not interested in this role play feature? Sounds like a pretty interesting feature that the sales leader might be interested in. We didn't even really give a chance for the sales leader to say, yeah, interesting, I'd like to learn more. Just kind of kept going. So if it's going to be mentioned, I think you take the time to do it justice.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So I think we're at the stage of looking at what the actual nuts and bolts are. So, what does this actually take if we wanted to make this a reality? Do we have an infrastructure that's compatible? What kind of timeframes are we looking at? And of course, what kind of costs, so that we can think about how far we want to take this.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Okay. And I, as I say, totally understand exactly what you're saying there. Moving on then to the nuts and bolts. In terms of pricing, I can help address that immediately. So our pricing is listed on our website. Let me just start a new share. So can you see our website? Is that come up on your screen?
Yeah.
So we've got two different packages, or you can encompass it all together. The all-encompassing is that scenario challenge piece on the end. But let's imagine you just wanted to start with sales conversation intelligence. It's £35 per user per month, and there's a platform fee of £350 as well. So it depends on really where you want to be using this. I know we spoke about SDRs and AEs, but do we want to bolt on customer success as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so would it be fair to say we're looking at between 25 and 30 users per month?
We're probably looking at more than that. We're talking 30 to 40 somewhere, depending on your plans over the next. So I've got 25 in mind.
Yeah, so I'm 6.
So 31 as a minimum.
All right, quickly, I got a patch on the back.
Oh, thank you.
Because this is proving, what we always talk about, correct, right? When you leave ample time for pricing and next steps, look at all the things you get to uncover.
Yeah.
They're literally having an internal dialogue that you get to be a part of.
Right.
That is saying, hey, do we have this even here, Mark.
Yeah.
And they're like, so you got to worry about budget.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these little things that you can pick up on when you leave enough time for it, and don't gloss over.
Yeah, 100%. The irony here is he's left a lot of time, but remember at the beginning we were talking about whether his pace was going to start to slow down? I don't think it has even one little bit.
No.
So that is something that, although I'm seeing a pro really navigate through this discussion, it's about how you make them feel. I feel rushed, and as you said, maybe a little bit, it's coming across a little bit salesy. Maybe?
Yeah, totally. The cadence is off.
Yeah.
The cadence has been off the whole time, but you know, he's made up for it another.
He has. He's completely outweighed it by, like, I think we've got a true sales pro here, and I'm super impressed.
Yeah, totally. Let's see how he closes this out.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm conscious. Obviously, we've hit the 2 o'clock. How do we take this forward? Is it you and I, Mark, that continue these conversations?
No, we need to go away and have a chat and consider where we feel about the platform, and then I'll feedback to you, Mark, I think.
Sure. Okay. Can we pencil in a time for that call then?
End of the week.
Okay. As in Friday. So how does 1 o'clock work for you?
Yeah, 1 o'clock. No, I prefer earlier actually. 11 o'clock.
Yeah, 11 o'clock's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, 11 a.m. on Friday. Is there anything you need from me, Mark, between now and then, just to help with those internal conversations?
Not at this stage, but
Some questions for implementation.
yeah, the implementation questions would be good.
Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll send them over.
Great.
Okay, thanks very much for your time, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mark.
All right. So how did you think that concluded? How did that wrap up?
I thought there were some really good questions there. I would rate it maybe in 7.5 or 8 out of 10. And I say that because the things that he did well wasn't afraid to ask some tough questions, but left a few things with question marks next to them, right? So got a call in the books already scheduled. That's fantastic. But if I were to sit here and really want to try and hypothesize on what it is they're going to huddle about over the next handful of days, I'm not sure I know exactly what the things are that I should have still dialed down. Like, I think it would have been worthwhile to say, just before we leave, I just want to know, like, when you think of the top 2 or 3 things that have you leaning in or leaning out, like, what is that? And then just see where that goes.
Yeah, that was actually one of my notes. I think you have to go almost a little challenger sale at the end here,
Right.
Because you could sense all of a sudden there's this leaning back effect that is happening, and I think you need to just ask the question like, hey, I do this quite frequently, and I sense that you're leaning back a little bit. Is there anything that I didn't address that we can quickly cover before I let you go?
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Well, and in terms of the overall call, I have to say, I think it's a pro job. Very well done. This is one of the best ones I've seen in recent times in terms of the level of acumen navigating through the discussion, which is great because they're selling call coaching technology.
so you better be good.
Better be good. And I also think it's particularly exercising the sales muscles when you've got a CEO and 2 senior business leaders there.
Yeah.
Interesting dynamic and very senior folks, and he kept it high level. Now, the one thing, Mark, that I will say, and I know I've said it a couple times already, one thing that's going to absolutely take your game to the next level is just bringing down the level of rushedness. That's a word, right?
It is,
yeah. That rushedness needs to be dialed back a little bit.
TM Dave.
Yeah, right? I've got that trademark. And so just dial that back, because when someone is rushed, then the person that's on the other end feels rushed. And that's not how we want them feeling. But just great job overall. What do you think, Scott?
I mirror everything that you say. Like, you're an absolute pro, so kudos, Mark. But honestly, you could, if I was listening to it on like a podcast feature, I would have it at the 0.5 speed. So you can literally slow it down by like a full half speed. So do some exercises, work on that, But other than that, the content itself, the delivery was great. You just gotta slow down your speech.
Great, awesome. Until next time, I guess.
See ya, everyone.
See ya.